Limerence is the scientific term for that intense, overwhelming, head over heels phase at the beginning of a new relationship. It feels magical, cosmic, destiny-level powerful, but chemically, it's actually closer to a temporary blend of obsessive-compulsive tendencies and substance addiction than most people realize. That might sound dramatic, but when you look at the neurochemistry, it makes sense. During limerence, your brain is flooded by a specific trio of chemicals that can seriously distort your perception of reality. First, dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It's the same system activated by cocaine, gambling wins, or social media notifications. When the person texts you, your brain gets a surge, a hit, a spike of pleasure and anticipation, and when they don't text, you feel withdrawal, restlessness, anxiety, craving. It's not poetic, it's neurochemical. Then there's norepinephrine. This is closely related to adrenaline. It's why you can stay up until 4 in the morning talking to them and still feel electric the next day. It causes the racing heart, the sweaty palms, the reduced appetite, the hyper-alert focus. You're wired, tuned in, slightly manic. And then, the most interesting piece, low serotonin. Research, including work by anthropologist Helen Fisher, found that people in the early stages of intense romantic love often have serotonin levels comparable to individuals diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. That drop in serotonin is what fuels the intrusive thinking. You don't just like them, you loop them. Your brain struggles to shift focus. They dominate your mental space. That's the obsessive component of limerence. Now, on top of this chemical cocktail, something else happens. Dopamine surges can temporarily dampen activity in areas like the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for judgment, critical thinking, and impulse control. This leads to what psychologists call positive illusion. You literally see them through a distorted lens. If they're rude to a waiter, you reinterpret it as confidence. If they're chaotic, it's charming. If they show red flags, your brain reframes them as depth. Your evaluation system is partially offline. And then comes the crash. Usually somewhere between 6 months and 2 years, the dopamine intensity fades. Serotonin stabilizes. The prefrontal cortex comes back online, and suddenly people think, wait, who is this person? It's not that the person changed overnight. The chemistry did. Now, some individuals are especially sensitive to this limerence high. When the relationship transitions into the oxytocin stage, which is calmer, stable, less busty, they interpret that calmness as boredom. They mistake the end of the chemical high for the end of love. So they leave. They seek a new partner. Not necessarily because the previous partner was wrong, but because they're chasing the dopamine spike. This pattern is sometimes called serial monogamy, driven by limerence addiction. They're not addicted to the person. They're addicted to the neurochemical rush. If we compare limerence to mature love, the contrast becomes clear. Limerence is intense and short-lived, typically months to a couple of years. It's marked by nervous energy, physical tension, idealization. The focus is often on how the other person makes you feel. The dominant chemistry is dopamine combined with low serotonin. You see a fantasy version of them, almost godlike. Mature love is slower and more stable. It can last decades. The body feels relaxed rather than tense. The focus shifts from how do they make me feel to how can we support each other. The dominant chemicals are oxytocin and vasopressin. You see a human being, not an idol. And now we arrive at something interesting. Why do some people never experience limerence? This connects to aromantic individuals. An aromantic person may not trigger that low serotonin obsessive loop. They might experience sexual desire, dopamine-based, and they might experience deep friendship and attachment, oxytocin-based, but they don't enter the obsessive limerence middle stage. Their system doesn't get stuck in that high-intensity romantic fixation. Again, this doesn't suggest malfunction. It suggests variation in how strongly certain chemical pathways activate. So when people say, "I'm addicted to love," sometimes that's not metaphorical. It's neurochemical. And when others say, "I've never felt that," that's not emptiness. It's simply a different configuration of the same incredibly complex human brain.